So Lotus is in trouble, and apparently so is Jaguar. But the thing is, one of these pieces of news is a red herring, it doesn't really mean anything, and the other one is really everything. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Car. I'm Utkarsh coming to you from Singapore. For those of you who don't know, I am also a brand management expert, executive, having led some of the most iconic brands that you may have heard of. Now, let's talk about this. There are two pieces of news. One is Lotus, of course, shutting down, potentially shutting down, or considering shutting down their UK facility where they make their sports cars. And the second one is Jaguar's apparent sales decline. Let's start off with the piece of news that doesn't really matter. Jaguar sales decline. It's not a surprise. It's not because of the advertising, the quote unquote woke advertising. It's simply because the company took a strategic direction to go all electric and stop production of their petrol ICE vehicles. So this is not unexpected. This is not some backlash to the advertising, which people who want to just make headlines may have you believe. That's not the case here. But what's happening with Lotus is concerning. And it's a lesson. It's a major lesson for not only Jaguar, but I think all car makers to learn as to navigate the choppy waters of change that have already started and are going to continue in the automotive world. Now, Lotus as a brand and any brand, you have to know what you stand for. And the good thing with Lotus is that there is a very, very clear brand identity. Who am I? Who is Lotus? I'm not going to bore you with marketing technical jargon like brand equity pyramids. But what you need to understand as a layperson is that for any brand, it needs to be clear on who it is. And from who it is, then it delivers a point of difference that makes it attractive to its customers. As simple as that. So, for example, if you think of Ferrari, a very, very successful brand, the brand character is very clear, right? It's Italian, it's based on racing, most successful racing team in history. And that translates to them creating a luxury product, ultimately inspired and informed by racing, which leads to people wanting to buy them. And Ferrari has transformed themselves in the last 5 to 6 years. They're having record profits and importantly, record profit margins. So, and yet you could say the world is different right now, but Ferrari has been very true to what they are. Though I have a lot of criticism for Ferrari as a petrolhead, but that doesn't matter here. I'm talking about as a company. Lotus probably has a racing heritage that is as iconic as Ferrari's, honestly. And if anything, Lotus is the racing team that was known for innovation, that was known for lightweight. Lotus is the lightweight sports car. It is the innovative engineering solution. It reflected in the products many times. It reflected in the products as recently as 10, 20 years ago with the Lotus Elise, where you have a lightweight sports car, lighter than anything else on the road, better to drive from a racing standpoint, from a purity of driving standpoint than anything else out there. That was very, very true to Lotus equity. The thing that has happened to Lotus under new leadership is that they decided that looking at the market, yet kind of ignoring what the brand stands for, they decided to go for, we need to build an SUV and we need to build an electric SUV because that's where the market is going. And there was little or no effort to really leverage Lotus's point of advantage. Now, you could say, what point of advantage could a light sports car maker take into a world of large electric SUVs? I think everything. Because Lotus's expertise is not only its brand and its history, it's also its people. Lotus engineers, Lotus chassis engineers are some of the best in the business. So, there could be a very clear path here where the challenge is the world is moving to electric vehicles because everybody wants efficiency, everybody wants to be environmentally friendly. That's the challenge. The barrier or the tension is that electric vehicles tend to be very, very heavy compared to petrol cars due to their huge batteries. Hence, even though they're trying to be eco-friendly, they are not so eco-friendly. That could be the tension. And the solution, which only Lotus can do, is because they are such experts in lightweight and chassis engineering, they are able to engineer an electric vehicle to drive well and be lighter than any other electric vehicle. Only Lotus can do this because they have a 70-year history of doing amazing engineering innovation, so on and so forth. Did Lotus do this? No. They just created another generic electric vehicle thingy, just like anyone else. It could be built by anyone, right? So for me, that's already a big, big mistake. And you're seeing the kind of consequence of that because the sports market, the driver involvement market is shrinking. Even people who buy Ferraris these days, I wouldn't really say they are because they are expert drivers. It's because Ferraris are now a luxury item which are leveraging their heritage to create an attractive thing. It's almost an investment sometimes. So it's not that you have to make your exact core product. Ferrari is not necessarily focusing on delighting the best expert driver. Technically, the products can do that, but those are not the people who are buying it. Those best expert drivers can't afford a Ferrari. But they are very carefully creating the myth of how a Ferrari drives, because most people will never get to drive one. And it is that myth that powers everything. So Lotus had a path to bring some of their expertise into the market in a way no other brand could, but it didn't. And we're seeing the consequences of this right now with the news. Now, what does this have to do with Jaguar? Everything, because Jaguar is another brand that has tremendous equity. It has racing equity, it has a Britishness which a lot of people don't realize, but because all of us here in the world are speaking English, right? There is something to that quintessential Britishness, that kind of, the British villain almost, so to speak. Jaguars, from a brand character, from what does the brand standpoint, can do things that other things can't. It can do things that BMW and Mercedes cannot, because BMWs, for example, cannot really be beautiful. They're not known for making very, very beautiful cars. Ultimate driving machine, yes, but Jaguars are known for being beautiful. They're known for being feline. Uh, the Mercedes cannot have that naughtiness of character that a Jaguar can have, right? Because Jaguar is, there's that whole villainous aspect. Even there's an iconic campaign by them. So Jaguar has a lot of equity going on, the Britishness, the villainous, the felineness, the racing heritage, which a lot of competitors don't have. And yet, when they decided to go down a new path, they decided to abandon everything. Right? I've talked about this in my earlier video where they just abandon all the brand equity, which is so silly because it takes years and years, which you cannot just buy. You cannot buy years of heritage, millions of dollars of marketing spend, or kind of marketing spend, which is what people have been talking about you for a long time, for decades, to build that equity. And that can easily be turned into something that makes sense in the modern world, right? It can make sense in the electric world. It can make sense in this mixed electric, hybrid, whatever world that we are in right now. You leverage that. You make the feline car. You play where you need to play. You don't just create a niche product which nobody really knows, and it's not even a space that Jaguar currently occupies that they're planning to do with their new model. It's much more expensive. Going up market just because some brands have done it and have done it on certain bases, like Ferrari has gone up market very, very successfully. It's not that they have gone to a higher segment. They have taken the segment that they occupy higher. But Jaguar is trying to go from this segment. If Jaguar is here, Aston Martin is here, Bentley is here, or wherever, Jaguar is trying to jump up to that level. You can't just do that. Taking a brand up market is very difficult. On the other hand, where the volumes are, where there is a desire, there is a gap in the market, right? Versus, say, buying a staid German car, right? Which is nice, but it's effective, but it's boring. There's a gap. There's a gap for an exciting car there. The Italians have not been able to make an exciting car to compete against the Germans, right? The Alfa Romeos have their own set of problems with Stellantis. There is a gap there. So my key point here is Jaguar, please learn from the trials and tribulations of Lotus, which is to say that they did not leverage their brand character, their point of advantage, something that they're known for in their products. Do that. You need to do that. You need to leverage your brand character. Even despite your best efforts recently, people still know what Jaguar is. People still know what Jaguar stands for. You need to bring that to your product and take that to the new generation of car buyers in a way that people understand, just like Ferrari has done. By the way, Ferrari has not won, of course, they won Le Mans right now, but they have not won a Formula One championship since Kimi Raikkonen, I think. It's been at least 15, 16 years. Numbers are here, I can't remember exactly. Has that stopped them from selling their sports car? It hasn't. Because they're creating the dream, a luxury dream, and their cars are living up to it. Right? And it is totally built on the ethos of Enzo Ferrari, down to the fact that Enzo Ferrari always wanted to build one less car than the market wanted. Ferraris have leveraged scarcity really, really well. So Jaguar, please go back and think about the incredible equity, the history that you have, the incredible appeal that lies in the heart of the key influencers, which is key petrol heads, because ultimately when it comes to luxury cars, because let's be clear, whether it's a BMW or a Jaguar or a Mercedes, they are luxury cars. It's not a bare basic car. These cars, the ethos, the excitement, the hype, for lack of a better modern word, is built by the enthusiasts. So you have to start there to delight the enthusiasts with the story, leveraging your brand character, but bringing it onto a modern product that makes sense in today's market space. And then it'll distill down to everybody else who wants to buy such a product. But if you abandon everything that you have, then you are just another upstart starting with nothing. And that's just silly. All right, folks, let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you next time.